You a churro person?
Yes.
Like just in general? Like churros.
I don't hate them.
You gotta be a good one.
They have their place at the county fair. Or,
That's where I think
I'm not a Disneyland churro person at all.
I know my family is, and that's not me.
At Disneyland?
Yeah, I don't know.
It just doesn't fit. It's a county
agree.
fair.
I agree. I'm with you. I'm with you, dude. I'm not a churro guy. Had an Oreo churro once. Decent. Not great.
See, and what's all this nonsense of, like, flavored churros? There's cinnamon. That's a churro. Like, we don't need to have...
I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah. I agree.
You know, because Jamie worked at Disneyland for a while. This actually came up in conversation at one point.
Are you serious?
All the different flavors of churros there.
I love Disneyland.
So do I. I do.
Oh, dude, I gotta pick her brain.
Yeah. No, you need to. She's a wealth of knowledge.
I bet she's a bevy of it, I bet.
Yeah. Ready?
You need to press the button, or is the button pressed?
The red light's blinking. It's not even blinking. It's just there.
It's just there.
And it's not even a light. It's a dot.
Perfect. Right.
Red dot on the monitor.
The red dots. I got you.
Yeah.
We're ready then.
Shut up! You don't think Ryan is famous?
Cousin Ryan.
You gotta...
Hey, what's up, YouTube friends and family? It's Cousin Ryan.
PJ!
And this is possibly, because of this filming, I haven't checked my cupboard yet to see if the Count Chocula is a viable option. But this may or may not be our last chocolate cereal in this review. You know, and I should actually leave room to say, between this video coming out and us filming this, there could be other chocolate cereals that we run across. So
Totally. We're always
not
looking out
even-
for chocolate cereals.
that's right.
At least I'm always
He
looking out for
is, and
chocolate
I'm looking
cereals.
out
He's
for
looking
him.
out for me.
Because that's
so
what
kind.
family does for each other.
That is what they do.
Now I lost my place.
I'm particularly excited about this one. Is what you're
But
saying.
are you? Yeah. We
are.
saved this one for last of the first three that we had because
This is Cinnamon
it
Toast
seemed-
Crunch chocolate churros.
You know what? It's so funny how you get used to things and you don't even pick them apart. When you said Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever.
Cinnamon
But
Toast
it actually
Crunch
is the
churros.
churro cereal,
It
and
is.
I'm sure I knew that at one point. And if you even look at the little mascot up here, it's very similar to.
So
the
here's
Cinnamon
what I'm
Toast
wondering.
Crunch guy.
I'm wondering, is this basically going to be chocolate toast crunch, but in churro shape? That's what I'm the most intrigued by. 'Cause
And-
if it is, and I love CTC, that will actually kind of be that'll be a downer for me. I
It
want to taste
will.
something a little different out of this. I do.
And it
Just
could
being
just be
honest.
a textural thing. And I really enjoy the texture of CTC. I don't know that... You guys can't...
These are smaller than I anticipated.
That's something you never want to hear. This bag,
More industrial.
it is.
Yeah, I
it's
can
very
tell it's
thick. It's like...
I noticed that. Is it? Okay. It does taste different.
It does. It does.
I'm fine with it. I actually appreciate that. I
I'm
like
getting a
this
little more
different.
cinnamon flavor in this, to be
I am.
honest with you. Like,
Which-
that's...
Which, I mean, if you're gonna... Perfect. If you're gonna do a chocolate churro, I need it to have more cinnamon.
Definitely.
Personally.
I'm not... I've had the other churro cereal.
Uh-huh. Is it good?
It
And we know it's not CTC.
It's not something I'm ever going to go out and buy.
More, or are you good?
No, I'm good, man. But I don't think it was bad. It's been a while. It's been many cereals ago since I've had it.
It's been a while. I'm ready.
But yeah,
Okay.
the milk adds to the experience in this case. This isn't something I would snack on. Regular CTC or chocolate CTC, I would snack on dry. I don't know that I would with this.
I agree
but
with you.
I enjoy it more with milk. For
I
sure.
agree with you. This one, for me, tastes more like Cinnamon Toast Crunch with a hint of chocolate.
Yeah.
Whereas the Chocolate Toast Crunch was more chocolate forward, if you will. This one, I feel like the chocolate plays a little bit of a... It's at the party. It's not
Right,
the life
right.
of the party.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
In total sense.
To
In
guess.
fact, the flavor of this, I would be much more on board with the chocolate cinnamon toast crunch if if
Mm-hmm.
it tasted like this, because I like the flavor of this the most, but I prefer the texture of CTC.
This is why we're brothers from other mothers. Because I agree 100%. I don't like the shape and texture of this. I like the flavor. So what I would like to see is this flavor profile on the chocolate toast crunch, the traditional cinnamon toast crunch squares.
I love that term, flavor profile.
I just,
It's amazing.
I just not. I can't get. I can't get behind the churro shape.
I'm actually more okay with the shape and texture as the cereal gets soggier.
I agree with that. It's almost a little too crunchy at first.
Yeah.
Whereas life, you better like pour it and eat. This one you
Immediately.
pour and then go put on your deodorant, wake your child up kind of thing, and then come down.
Then come back.
Ah. But I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on that one. So if I'm doing the 3 so far, I think I'm going to go chocolate toast crunch, followed by chocolate churros, followed by chocolate life of the 3.
I'm going to go slightly soggy chocolate churro, life, and then chocolate CTC.
Wow.
I think. And fresh in the bowl life, too. Not soggy life.
Right. Well,
I don't want the soggy life, man.
I'm with you. We want the fresh life.
That's right, fresh. Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh.
All right.
Friends forever. Zack
That's
Attack.
right.
That's what we want.
Zack Attack.
That's what
Yeah.
we want.
Speaking of Zack Attack, do you remember Zack?
Don't.
He's a Lego maniac.
Oh yes, of course I do. That's awesome.
Right?
Oh
And
man,
it's funny because when you first said it, I know you were going with the Saved by the Bell reference, but when you said that, I was thinking,
I gotta
the
look
Lego
that up.
maniac, man.
I remember that one totally.
Yeah.
He was a Lego maniac.
How many children out there named Zach had their lives ruined by that commercial?
Oh, I'm sure probably several.
Just like the modern day version, I think would be Jake from State Farm.
Right.
I feel bad for people named Jake. I have a neighbor named Jake, and
right, and then that's what I think of.
yeah,
I think of that.
because that's just and it's fun to say names,
Right.
like goofy names, and I would never say anything out of any like anger or
Right.
malice or
Right. My friends,
hostility. It's
my
just
friends
fun,
called me
but
Osh Josh Be Gosh instead of Osh Gosh Be Gosh. Remember that
yeah,
brand? My
That's
sister, whose
right.
name is Tara, shout out to her. People called her Pterodactyl. She really hated that.
I would
Tara.
hate that.
I just literally for the millions upon millions of these viewers. Yeah.
of the 20 people that will watch this video over the course of a month,
the dozens
but,
upon
yeah,
dozens of the viewers.
the 5 upon 5 of the
Yeah.
pterodactyl. That's amazing.
That's
So,
bad. But yeah, it's
you know what I got? To just
crying, Ryan?
oh, thanks, man.
Sorry,
Open
dude.
wound. That's not it. I forgot about that one.
Good.
Rye bread.
That's terrible. That's
not even
unoriginal,
creative.
unoriginal, and
Yeah.
and
And
unfunny.
unnecessary,
Right.
really.
It's funny until we became tight. Every time I would see you and talk to you, because I would watch you when you did the Destruction Derby.
Oh, yeah,
and the
yeah.
announcer would call you Flying Ryan.
And that was a
Howison.
carryover from
Every
when
time
I
I
raced
saw
at
that,
Petaluma
and
Speedway.
every time I saw that, I'd be like, "Oh, there's
See,
Fly in my head, Flying,"
Ryan.
and that makes sense. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
I'm okay with
Rye
that
bread,
one too. Flying Ryan
that's
was
lame.
good. Yeah.
That's lame. That's unoriginal and unfunny.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that's low
But
hanging
shout out to my dad. Anytime he would leave a note for me or anything, even on the Christmas presents, right? You call me Rye.
Yeah.
But he would spell it like my name is obviously Ryan. How would you spell Rye? RY, right?
Yeah.
But my dad would always put an E on it, like
Because
the
of
spelling
like
of
the
rye bread.
See, I wouldn't do that.
And I never associated that. I just thought, oh, that's okay. That's how you
Did
spell
people
my
call you when you were a
nickname.
little kid like Rye Guy?
I have been called that. I've even been called that as an adult. Doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Um,
You seem like you're pretty laid back with that.
yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I will say though. Okay, we're gonna get deep here. Let's get deep with this.
Right, because like I don't care if people call me Joshua. I prefer Josh, but say people say Joshua, it's like that's cool.
Yeah.
I struggle with the Mr. Carrillo thing.
Yeah.
I think of my
don't-
pops.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's
yeah.
hard.
The Mr. thing is rough.
Yeah. I'm okay with Mr. C.
Or being called, do you get called sir a lot?
Sometimes, and that's when I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
Right.
Like, nah, sorry.
I know, it's so funny going through like the drive-through at even Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
It's one of those like,
My
you know,
pleasure, sir. It's like,
sir, and I'm like,
nice.
wait a minute, I'm your age. Oh yeah, no, I'm probably old enough to almost be your dad now. So, okay, thank you
That's
for
it,
calling. Thanks for the
exactly.
respect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, Rye Guy, and
Yeah.
then so certain people, I don't mind being called Rye, but we better be friends.
Yeah, see,
I
and even
don't
though I
like-
feel like
if you
and I
don't
are tight,
know me-
I don't know if I can call you. I just know you as Ryan. I feel like Ryan, like that's
It's
not hard
short enough,
yeah,
man.
Exactly, exactly. That would
It
be
ain't-
like
it ain't calling
it
you
ain't hard.
Ja. What's
right.
up, Ja?
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
excuse me, like, yeah.
And I don't mind it, you know, but it's like certain people. I'll give you a good example. I had a run-in at work with somebody that I work at a school, and one of the neighbors I had an issue with one of our students after school, so he came to talk to us about it. And
It happens.
the guy called me Rye. He was a baseball coach, and he was like, so, like, yeah, you know, so here's the deal, Rye.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah,
You lost me, bro.
you don't know me like that.
Yeah.
No, really. I mean,
No, I'm
it doesn't.
with
It doesn't bother me, but
Right, I
it's for
understand.
some reason when certain people say Rye, it's
I
like
can understand that.
we're not that familiar.
I can understand
I
that.
don't know.
I've had,
But if you guys want to call me Rye, that's totally fine. I don't mind it
Right.
at all. It's just if you're trying to be my buddy and get on my good side, I sniff that schniz out
of
really
there,
quick.
yeah. I've had a few friends that have like more of a traditional longer name, and with like it's like the Y ending though. As they've
Yeah.
gotten older, they've moved like don't call me Robbie or Bobby.
Oh,
call
yeah,
me
yeah, yeah,
Robert
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I can understand that, or like a hard Rob.
It's hard when you've grown up with somebody like my cousin Robert, who it's funny, I call him Robert all the time.
Right.
Super, super close. I mean, we've grown up together.
Sure.
And I still call him Robert.
Sure.
Or Bobby. But a lot of people outside, and even his twin brother Jason, calls him Bob. And
Right.
It's like, I'm just not, he's not Bob to me.
Right. Yeah.
But that's mainly what he goes by, but
Makes
I
sense.
tend to refer to him more as Robert or
makes
Bobby.
sense. Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. And when you call, okay, even like Robbie or whatever, especially when you've grown up with somebody, calling them a certain, because I know I can't give you an immediate example of that, but
Right.
when you've grown up with them your whole life, calling them Bobby or Robbie
Right.
or Johnny or whatever.
Right. And I'm sure that the people
That's just,
are
you get so
okay
used
with,
to
yeah,
it that
right.
it's hard to, by the way, JTP,
Yeah.
Johnny,
Yeah.
that is his God-given name is Johnny.
Johnny, I love
It's
it.
not short for Jonathan, which it's funny now because I've taken to saying, dude, Jonathan, what are we doing for lunch today? Just to mess with him because it's not, when the conversation has to get serious.
Do you ever, when you befriend him, go home alone and be like, all right, Johnny, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
No.
I would totally do that.
Johnny, I'm
Shout
sorry.
out to JTP.
Yeah.
Yeah, the names too. Like, I just throwing it out there, like Charles and Chuck. I don't get like how did Charles get to Chuck? How did James get to Jim? Why isn't it James?
Certain things make like
or Char.
right.
What's Chuck?
Jonathan to John makes perfect
Makes
sense.
perfect sense.
Did you know? Do you know John also? John itself has another.
Yeah, there's a Jonathan, which can be a Jon.
No,
then
not
a John,
even
John.
Oh, not spelling though. John, which I would assume the John version of it, has another. It's not even shortened, but a nickname for John.
That's nuts. How?
And it's obvious. It's in our American history that it's there.
I don't understand that.
Jack.
Oh, right, Jack
Kennedy. Yeah.
Yes.
John F. Kennedy. Jack Kennedy.
How did that happen?
Why would
how
you?
did you
It's
get
the
John from
same
Jack?
syllables, the same letters,
Yeah.
the same. I mean,
It makes no sense.
Why would you? You know what? Please don't call me John. Call me Jack.
Right. Yeah.
But like my uncle Jack, his name was Jack. It wasn't
Right.
John. It was Jack.
And the one that I don't get at all. I had a teacher in high school. His name was Richard, and he would introduce himself not to the parents as Dick. My name's Dick
Yeah.
Noble. I had a cousin who was Richard. He wanted to be called Rich.
Yeah. Or Ricky.
Yeah. Right. So
Right.
how does that?
Or Rick.
Yeah. Right. Like how does
Yeah.
that? How does? Yeah. But the John and Jack makes no sense because that's
No,
not a
you're
shortened
not
of anything.
gaining
Yeah.
anything. Even
Don't you guys agree? If you're a John, would you want to be called a Jack?
if you were a John, are you called Jack?
Right.
And I'm not criticizing
No, it's
those names at all. It's
How'd
just
that come
how
to
did
be?
it happen? Why would you do it? Because usually nicknames are shorter, easier to say
Right.
or whatever, but you're not
Right.
really gaining anything by doing that.
My brother, when I used to play sports, he would call me Jay, and he would yell, and then when I would do something cool, he'd be like, "Oh, Jay," and then he started calling me OJ until 1994. And then he stopped wisely.
Shout out to the juice.
Yeah, why? And I'd be like, I remember he's like, "I'm not gonna do that." I'm like, I appreciate that because I think you can just so.
That's funny,
Yeah.
man. I still remember sitting on the porch. We had a TV out on our patio watching the infamous Bronco chase.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. I remember
too.
sitting in high school in homeroom when they released the verdict also.
I remember that too because I don't think we had TVs in our classrooms to do it. So someone it was like a relay almost.
You know what's funny? We had a TV in the classroom, but we must not have had cable because we were listening to it on the radio. And I remember...
Yes, it was the radio.
I remember not having... How would you describe this? There wasn't... The social climate was different back then.
It was.
But I remember there being a distinct division with the OJ verdict.
There was.
Not racially, though.
No.
At school, it wasn't racial. It was gender. It was split gender. I remember in the classroom and even in the quad at lunch that day, there was a division between the boys and the girls.
Fascinating.
The boys were like, yeah, OJ, he didn't do it. And the girls were upset at the verdict.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My wife and I were having this conversation, not related to that one, but related to the Challenger explosion.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas there were people who were watching it because it hadn't happened in a long time, and they're like, "What just happened here?"
Yeah.
And I just try to remember. Could you imagine being a kid, 8 or 9, and being looking at your teacher,
right?
Is that did we see that? Did we actually? Because remember, I think the reason I remember it being on a lot of TVs because one, TV was up and coming, but also there was a teacher that was going up.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal.
School was a big deal. Yeah, remember that?
Yep.
And it was just
absolutely.
did that just happen?
I remember that about it more than anything else, that there was a teacher and what a big deal it was that this teacher was going to be on. There's a great documentary on Netflix, and I haven't finished it yet. It was a series about the Challenger.
I'll have to check that
Totally
out.
worth watching. I haven't finished it yet.
Because certain things, and we totally digress, but it's great.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's certain things that you just remember clearly. I remember 9/11 like it was yesterday, and I can tell you where I was the whole day.
I'll tell you.
Those
okay,
things like that.
Let's go. Let's go into that real quick.
Those things like that. You were just they're forever etched, and it made me. My mom would always talk about JFK's assassination, November 22nd, 1963, and I wouldn't get it until 9/11 happened, and I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
We were house sitting at a house in Rincon Valley. We woke up in the morning, and I was driving. Cell phones were pretty new. My wife called me on the cell phone. I'm headed to work. She's like,
"You were already married at that time?"
I was. Yeah, I was 21.
This guy started young.
I did. Christine goes, one of the towers fell. I'm like, I think you saw that wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Josh, I'm serious. I'm like, no, I think you saw it wrong.
Right,
I turned on the radio, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Calls me later. Second tower. And I'm like, no, this is not, that. That's not real.
Right.
And that whole day at work, we were just all on the internet and with the radios, and even the CEO was like, you don't have to work, just hang out.
Yeah.
And then they even gave us the next day off. And then we had this whole meeting where we just kind of talked, because it was it was nuts. And I remember just that night, Christine and I I think hanging out with her family and just sitting there, just staring at the TV, being like, "Is this did this really happen?"
I was between jobs at the time, again 21,
right?
And I'd wake up in the morning and watch Ricky Lake.
Of course,
that was just my routine.
Sure,
you know. And I woke up and I think my TV was already on. Actually, I'm a TV on sleeper. And there was a picture of, I didn't know who he was at the time, but Osama bin Laden standing there. He had this, and he was talking.
Yeah.
It was just a B-roll type footage.
Yeah, sure.
And the headline at the bottom said "America Under Attack." And I'm like, oh, that's strange. Ricky Lake's not on, and they're talking about America under attack with this guy. I immediately thought it was just metaphoric, our economy's under attack with the price of oil or whatever from the Middle East. It's not.
And he's threatening or something.
And my mom walks in, my room, and I said, "Well, you know," she said, "Well," she said the planes crashed into the Pentagon, or a plane crashed into the Pentagon,
Right.
and then I had such a weird's not even the way to describe it. To think we were, and this just shows how good we have it in this country, to make it to 21 years of age,
Right.
and have this feeling of, wow, our country's under it, like somebody attacked us on our own soil. To not have to worry about those things really
think
is an
about it
indication of
until
our privilege here. As much as we complain about America, like
Right.
we are
Fortunate, right?
fortunate,
Yeah,
and even more so at that
ways.
point. The
Yeah,
world's changed
right.
a lot in the
Yes.
last 20 years,
I
but
agree.
but it was just this feeling of, wow, what, you know. And then so it switches to New York,
Yeah, man.
and both planes had already crashed in at that time, and then the smoke started going down the building, and I'm watching, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And as the smoke, like the smoke is here and it's starting to travel down the building, and then the top of the smoke starts to catch up and there's no building left, and I'm like,
I know.
watching just in disbelief.
Yeah,
like,
right.
what's
Disbelief
going
is a
on?
good disbelief, and then you start to see the footage, right, of these cameras where you see the like
Yeah.
the planes go in, and you're like, what?
It was just unbelievable.
It was surreal. And then the
And
next 2 days, you're just like in a shock mode of. So these people we were house sitting, they were in France, and they were walking by a cafe, and some of the people in France like grabbed them, was like, "Do you see your country? Like,
Yeah.
do you see your
Whoa.
country?" And they
That's
were like,
crazy.
so then they called us, and we're like, "Is everything okay?" They couldn't get back, obviously, for a
Yeah.
few extra days because
Right.
they halted, a lot. Yeah. I just remember it being. It's like the way I remember too, like, and I'm not trying to make it lighten the mood, but I remember it being like the 1 year where I was like, when the president threw out the first pitch in Yankee Stadium, I was like, the Yankees are all right. Just like because of at that point, it
I
just
never
felt like
felt that. No,
it just
I'm kidding,
it
you're
just
right.
felt
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it felt like the USA in a little bit.
Do you remember how hard
But-
it was to get an American flag at that point?
I do.
You couldn't go into a
Right.
store anywhere
Yeah.
and buy an American flag. They were gone, sold out. I hung out with one of my friends that day, and we went to the mall, and some stores were open, some stores were closed.
Well,
It
yeah.
was very empty. The streets were pretty empty.
Yeah. It's just weird.
No, I remember that day distinctly, and coming home that night and just having this odd, uneasy feeling, like, what's going on? I don't know. It was just, it was strange, man. It was a strange time for sure. But
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And I had a similar feeling. I remember driving home from work knowing that, like, well, it was like, it was 15 months ago now, that, like, we were going to be quarantined for a couple weeks and thinking, this is weird. Like, this is
Yeah.
different. This is,
Yeah.
so you have those, they're similar,
yeah,
just that I'm a similar, like, feeling.
there was
So-
a definite change in the vibe of this country after that, though.
100%.
And
Yeah.
I think about it, like, Ryder was born in 2004.
Yep.
He doesn't know what,
Excuse me.
bless you, the pre 9/11
Oh, yeah.
life felt like.
I remember with some of the students I would hang out with all the time, they would. And this is probably one of the first times I ever felt old.
Mhm.
Is they came to me and said, "So Josh, like, tell me what 9/11 was like." And I looked at them like, "You were, oh no, you were like not born yet," and it like freaked me out. Where I was like, "I'm actually an adult
man.
now, like an actual
Ryder,
like,
Ryder has no
So I-
idea, like, what.
So I sat him down, like my mom sat me down talking about JFK's
Yeah,
assassination, and I was
yeah.
just like, "This is really weird."
Yeah. My mom will tell a story about World War II because she was a little girl
Sure.
when World War II happened.
Sure.
They'd have blackout windows. They had to black out their windows because planes flying over would just look for lights to drop bombs
Right.
on. That was the fear. And she remembers sitting on my grandma's lap with nothing but the glow of the radio because they didn't have a TV at the time.
Right.
I don't even know. Yeah, TVs didn't even come about until like 50s.
Yeah, especially in like house. I mean, you probably
Yeah,
had to, even if they
households.
were, you probably had to be rich,
Right.
like rich to get a TV.
And really rich to have two TVs.
Straight up,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, nobody has two TVs.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
He's kidding. But no, my mom would talk about sitting in the. In fact, I think we still have, or she still has, the rocking chair that they were sitting in, and listening to the radio. Which that to me is even just a wild time in this country. Like what an experience. That
Crazy
is.
stuff, man.
Wow, man, that really went all over the place.
That did.
And it all started with Cinnamon Toast Crunch chocolate churro cereal.
Right, that was a good time, friends.
It was. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
It was great.
taking a trip down memory lane.
Yeah,
Gosh, we covered
memory
a lot,
lane.
man.
We
OJ,
did.
9/11.
Yeah, that's good.
World War II.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Till next time.
Cool. Till next time. And we may or may not have another chocolate cereal coming up next week. I don't know yet. We'll see. Stay tuned. And until next time, be excellent to each other.
You filthy animals.
It's a good night.
It's always
sure,
good
dude. It's
hanging
always
out, bro.
fun.
Straight up.
I'm
Like-
so glad we started doing
And
this.
here's why I like doing this. Like,
You know, say it's cousin Ryan on the Hollywood Boulevard. You know, say he bigger than any superstar. All of us spit is some real dope bar. Some them sweeter than any chocolate bar. Boom!
okay.